What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Brad back with another video, and I wanted to get on here and give you guys a little update as to how things are going now that I'm back in the ICU.
Are you listening? Nurse Pass. Beast mode. Grind.
You know, it's real interesting getting back into the critical care environment after having been out of it for, close to 11 months. I'm going through a more condensed, more accelerated orientation. I did ICU nursing for almost 2 years, so it's more so just trying to knock the dust off and the rust and all that stuff. But I've got a great preceptor, man, and I'm learning a whole lot. It's now more so trying to get acclimated to this new facilities way of taking care of the post-surgical heart patient, as well as, like I said, just trying to shake the cobwebs off. But man, it's been a lot. I've been getting a lot of great exposure, primarily also to a lot of different devices that I never did get to take care of in my first 2 years in critical care. I've been taking care of patients with balloon pumps. I've had several now, which is awesome just to get my hands on that device and get experience and get acclimated with caring for that patient population, as well as impellas. I've gotten to care for one patient that had an impella device, which is an internal left ventricular assisted device, just to help offload that left heart. A lot of exposure to a lot of stuff. I got to recover my own heart now for the first time. It's really cool, man. It feels good to be back in this environment. It really does feel like home. I've been orienting now for a little over a month, maybe a month and a month and 2 weeks, and I've got one more week, and then I'm gonna be on my own, man. I'm gonna be flying solo dolo. And something else that's cool, an opportunity that came about whenever I first got hired on. I don't think that I mentioned this, but I was under the impression that I was going to have to do nights. I was going to have to work nights in the CVICU, just because that was kind of the only availability. And usually whenever new hires come on to an ICU, it's usually beginning on nights. Usually people are just doing everything they can to get on days. So there's a high demand for days. Anyway, whenever I first got on with them, though, I was hired to be night shift, and I was inquiring about the possibility of working extra weekend shifts just to get shift diff so I can get extra cash. And they're like, well, actually, it turns out we have a weekend day position available if you really want to try and make some money. The only caveat is that you have to work weekends. And for me right now, in my own personal life, the way that things are set up here at home, with the family, it would actually be a perfect fit for me to work weekends. So that's what I'm about to be transitioning over into. After this next week, once I'm finished with my orientation, I'll be transitioning over to weekend days. So I'm actually really excited about that, man. Like I said previously, the goal now is CRNA, nurse anesthesia. And there's several things that I have to do and knock out before I'm able to even apply to any program. And one of the things is obtaining my bachelor's. So the fact that I'm going to be able to work weekend days, I'm going to be on a day shift schedule. I'm not going to be battling sleep issues like I was before working nights. And then I'll have every day during the week off. So I think that it's going to really be conducive to, obtaining my bachelor's, and it's going to have me set up for some good success to knock out all of the things that I do need to knock out. Speaking of, just to give you guys like an idea of what I have to do before I can do nurse anesthesia. So I've got to get my bachelor's degree, right? I'm only associates prepared at this point, so that's the first thing. The next thing that I'm actually have in works right now, I just did the math. Whenever you go to get certification in ICU, CCRN, that's the primary certification for critical care nurses. You have to have, per the requirements in order to take the test, you have to have 17 or 1,800 hours worked in the previous 2 years. So I did just spend 10 or 11 months in the OR, so I was away from critical care for, 11 months or so. But I just did the math, and based on my experience up until this point, I actually do have the required hours necessary to be able to take the CCRN exam. So it's not actually technically a requirement for most of the anesthesia programs I'm looking at, but it's something that I still want to do anyway, because most everybody who's applying to nurse anesthesia school has it. So it's just kind of like an unspoken thing that you should do that. Plus, I've been wanting it for a while, man. Before I ever left the ICU the first time, the plan was to get CCRN, and then stuff just happened where I got out of the ICU. But so that's the one thing: get the bachelor's, get CCRN. So I'm going to probably be working on the CCRN very soon. I'm looking at another certification, CSC. I think it's it's a cardiac surgery certification. That's another one I want to do. Once I get my CCRN, I want to get the subspecialty of CSC. Then after that, after I've got the bachelor's, I've got to take the GRE examination. So a lot of things that have to get done. A lot of the great advice that I've got from many CRNAs that I've talked to is that this is a long process, man. It's not going to happen overnight, so patience. Trying to really communicate how patience is so key. It's something that I'm really just trying to take to heart, adopt, and move forward with. So I'm excited, man. Things are going well. The cobwebs and rust and dust are coming off. I'm getting more into my groove, getting more acclimated to taking care of the critically ill patient like I used to. Actually, I'm going to pat myself on the back for a moment. I worked yesterday and, taking care of some heart patients. And at the end of the 12-hour shift, I ended up getting compliments from both families, both telling me separately, of course, that I was their favorite nurse that had gotten the chance to take care of their loved one. And for me, in nursing, it's kind of just a known thing that the profession of nursing in general is generally a thankless profession. We kind of grind for the welfare of our patients, and you don't get many thank yous. But to get a compliment like that here, coming toward the end of my reorientation back to the ICU, it just felt good. So I figured I'd pat myself on the back for a second. But anyways, man, just kind of rambling, just letting you guys know how things are going. I'm excited about to be doing my solo gig. I definitely want to start putting up some educational materials regarding critical care concepts. There's a lot of great material, man. This is all stuff that I love so much that I try to immerse myself in this kind of material because it's what we do every day, and it's very important work. And it also, for a lot of you nursing students out there, every single day we're dealing with every different kind of concept that you guys are learning about. So I think that even if you're still in nursing school and you're not necessarily in critical care yet, you could take benefit from. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to get off of here. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It's your boy Nurse Bass, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.